Hi, hello and welcome. Today I wanted to make a video on an interesting class I had last year about meaning in the life of an elderly person. A lot of people presumably just write off the elderly population as having experienced enough already, just wanting to live out their life in a laid-back fashion, not undertaking any big projects anymore or going to work, things like that. So they might presume that those elderly people don't really have any meaning in their life anymore. But this class focused all on why should they still have meaning and how can we help them achieve that meaning? How can they help themselves still achieve that meaning in their life? And it's an important topic because a large part of the population is growing older and older. Life expectancy just keeps on going up, and the amount of elderly people in our civilization also just keeps going up. A lot of those people will look for help at some point because they face some challenges, and we have to have attention for the specific hardships of that period in their life, like for example still finding meaning even in that hard period. Because it is a hard period. There's no way of beating around that bush, there's no way of avoiding that. It's a hard period in your life. The media often really doesn't have that much attention for it. When you Google something like successful old people or healthy old people, you see people that are running around, that are going to yoga classes, that are still very active, running with their dog, walking with their dog. They pick up new hobbies like climbing or cycling. And that's of course a beautiful image. That's an ideal image, but getting old is not that easy. It's not that easy for everyone, at least. So the image that is portrayed in the media could be a bit misleading. That imagery in the media focuses on the opportunities that growing old still gives to someone, but they disregard some of the challenges, and some of them are listed up right here above me. Some of the opportunities that you face is that you can still learn, you can still develop yourself. You also have a lot of life experience from all the things that you experienced throughout your life, all the activities you did, all the different types of work you had, all the different encounters with all types of different people you had, and you can contribute to your family and your broader community by sharing some of that life experience. Of course, the counterpart, there's also a lot of challenges. Physical constraints, cognitive constraints, your body starts to get worn out and your brain starts to get a bit slower. Maybe you lose some of the connections up there. Some people, of course, as we know, when they grow older, develop Alzheimer's disease. And in general, you will just be needing of more help and support. Maybe just for when you're doing something difficult, but maybe also for some of the more mundane things like getting dressed and washing yourself. And that, of course, includes a lot of costs for healthcare and a lot of costs for society in general, where some people might think, is it really worth it to invest in these people that don't live that long anymore? In my opinion, yes. Yes, it's definitely still worth it, because those people can still do a lot of things. What we actually need displayed there in the left is a nuanced view. A nuanced view with attention for individual differences. Some people might achieve that portrayal of getting old that is seen in the media. Some people might have too many hardships crossing their path, but they can still even make something meaningful out of their life. We shouldn't look at the elderly population in terms of whether they are active, whether they are sporting, whether they are exercising, moving around, all those things, but whether they are still able to find meaning. And that's exactly the topic of this small little video. Now, what is meaning actually? Because meaning and happiness are often concepts that are confused with each other. Some people might think that having happiness in your life automatically means meaning, but that's not really the case. Happiness is more that fleeting feeling of positive emotions at one specific moment. Happiness is when you go out for a nice walk on a sunny day. Happiness is when you eat a nice piece of chocolate cake. Happiness is when you get a lot of money, for example. That could also make you happy. Meaning is something more lasting. It's something more fundamental. It's less disturbed by the environment and by the context around you. If you have meaning in your life, a rainy day where you don't go walking will not make it so that you don't experience that meaning anymore. Whereas a rainy day where you can go walking might not increase your happiness all that much. Meaning is all about stability. It's all about that underlying stream in your life that is constantly saying like, yeah, this life is worth it. Three main concepts actually make up the concept of meaning. Coherence, the feeling that you have like an understandable and a coherent life story. All the experiences you have, you can fit into that story and it is a whole that makes sense. Purpose is about setting goals for yourself and achieving them as well. So a lot of people disregard old people's purpose because they think in terms of goal setting in the future. So they think like old people can't set any more goals because they're about to die, to say it very brutally. But you should look at purpose in an old person's meaning more in terms of the achieved goals already. And in that case, you can realize that they still have a lot of meaning. Significance is more on the interpersonal domain, meaning something to others or to the world, and that's where the contribution to your family or community comes in again. These three broad domains make up the concept of meaning, or that's at least what the tripartition theory of meaning postulates.
Tripartition. Tripartition.
Close, close. And I personally like that definition of meaning because I feel like it really separates it from happiness, and it's just 3 easy to understand concepts that you can remember as well, and they make sense to me, you know? I also realize that when I set and achieve goals, that gives me a sense of meaning in life. When I experience coherence, when I experience something and I feel like, yeah, this fits in my life story, and I can tell that life story to others, I also like that. That also gives me a sense of meaning. And then significance, being important to someone else, supporting someone else while they are facing challenges, that also gives me a sense of meaning in life. Now, why all the hassle? Why do we pay so much attention to meaning? Why can't we just focus on happiness? Well, that is because research shows that meaning actually has a lot of positive benefits on your health, on your physical health, survival and recovery rate after difficult operations, for example, or also just self-reported pain. People that still experience meaning in their life reported less pain. Better subjective well-being as well, so more on the mental side. A positive effect, just going through life with a positive attitude, experiencing joy, being satisfied with your own life, and having higher self-esteem, feeling like you can really take on life with all your strengths and you can make the best out of it. Last but definitely not least, it's an important source of resilience. Having meaning in your life can help you kind of spring back into action after getting knocked down. It can be a buffer to stressful situations in your life, for example sickness or loss, which are very common in elderly people. And now that's of course cool that research shows it, but how is that possible? How does meaning achieve this? How does meaning make our life legitimately better in that way? Well, there's 3 main mechanisms that are proposed, but they need further research. People that experience meaning in their life reported less chronic stress experiences, so long-term stress that keeps on adding up. People that experience meaning in their life also reported doing more health behaviors, like sleeping in a healthy manner, eating healthy things, still exercising enough, not smoking and drinking too much, or none at all even. And then finally, people that experience meaning in their life were also found to have a better immune system, so that's again where that buffer to stressful experiences comes in. And this is not just true for elderly people, but it's true for us as well. So I advise you to focus on those 3 parts of meaning, on coherence, significance, purpose. Try to fulfill those conditions in your life, because those health benefits, they are also for you. And now, how do we still find meaning in our elderly life? What gives elderly people meaning? You can see all of them listed up on the right there. Some of the things you will recognize, because a lot of things that give us meaning when we're old still also give us meaning right now, while we're still young or of medium age. Family, a very important one, of course. I think a lot of people will resonate with that meaning something to your family can give you a greater sense of meaning in life as well. That's where the significance comes in. Health, just remaining healthy, being able to go about your day without worrying about, for example, falling over or breaking something. And also mental health is definitely included in that. Interpersonal relationships, a very, very important one, can't stress it enough. We know from a lot of research that interpersonal relationships and connection is one of the best buffers against psychopathology like depression, anxiety, suicidalness. Personal growth, I've marked that one in red. I've also marked the top 4 in bold because they are really important ones. But personal growth in red. Why did I mark it in red? Because sometimes when people grow old, other people in their environment will think like, yeah, we have to put them in a retirement home, we have to take care of them completely, they can't act for themselves anymore, they need to be watched 24/7. But no, don't underestimate old people. They can still grow, they can pick up new hobbies, they can learn new things like a new language, playing an instrument, they can learn how to knit, they can still go out for connections with other elderly people or with their family. They can still grow in so many domains that are important to them, and that gives them a large sense of meaning. So if someone is old, don't immediately just brush off their request to still make something of their life because they are old and fragile, but let them do their thing. Let them search for meaning. The 4 on the bottom are still leisure, so just doing fun activities like hobbies and things like that. Society and community, contributing to that on a larger scale. Working, people can still work while they're elderly. A lot of people in Belgium here, they have a pension, so they stop working at the age of like 65, something like that. But then they just pick up another job, another small way of income, and they enjoy themselves. And then, of course, spirituality and religion. I put that one on the bottom to kind of counter the idea that that is closely related to meaning and one of the only domains that can really provide meaning for elderly people still. Sure, it can. People can still cling on to Christianity or whatever belief they are clinging onto, but it's not the sole source of meaning for them. And I wanted to convey that message by putting it at the bottom. But I don't want to disregard the importance of that for elderly people or people of any age for that matter. So in short, Try to focus on those domains that we just talked about: family, interpersonal relationships, personal growth, things like that. And don't wait to do that until you grow old. We have so many elderly people in our society, and hopefully we will all grow old, and still the general societal tendency is to kind of ignore that period of our life and postpone worrying about it because we're still young right now. Don't avoid the topic. We all grow old, so we need to prepare for it and help others prepare for it as well. Meaning, consisting of the three big parts of coherence, significance, and goals, has health benefits on the physical side and on the mental side. So it's an important concept to keep in mind while going through your day-to-day life. Act upon things that give you meaning in life. Act upon your values, like we talked about in the video of acceptance and commitment therapy. Think about what is really important for me, because those experiences will most often give you the most meaning. Don't just chase happiness, because then you will fall into the happiness trap. And then the most important thing to take away from this video: don't underestimate old people. Don't just put them in a room where you have surveillance on them 24/7 and you feed them pudding without letting them have any agency over their life anymore. Let them go out, let them explore, let them maybe try another job, let them learn something from books, from practical skills. Just let them live their life still. Let them find their own meaning and try to find your own meaning throughout your life yourself. That's mainly the main gist of why I wanted to make this video. And I hope it kind of gave you some insights into some of those topics. I hope it helped you in some way, shape, or form. And I hope to see you in the next one as always, because you guys watching this gives me a sense of meaning. Creating this content gives me a sense of meaning. So I better invest some time and effort into it. Bye bye.